Hey, everybody. Welcome back to the Lion's Den. Today, we speak with Carlos Barreto, who is the founder of Cleverman. Carlos has a really extensive marketing career for major companies. We're talking Coca-Cola, Procter Gamble, Revlon, and he's basically taken that experience and he's brought that to starting his own company, Cleverman, which is also a consumer goods company that you will learn more about in this episode. So it's a really fun conversation. I think, especially if you are a marketing professional thinking about starting your own business, it's a really cool lens into what it is to be an entrepreneurship coming from a background in marketing. So check it out. So Carlos, I'm looking at your LinkedIn page. You had a long, successful career in marketing leadership, really, at a bunch of major global consumer companies, Procter and Gamble, Kimberly-Clark, Coke, Revlon. What exactly were you doing at those companies? What was your role there?
Yes, I began my career really in marketing. I had passion for that. Since when I was in high school, I had to do a project of drawing, and they did a contest between all the schools about to doing a billboard, and I was the second one, in that, and I learned that I really liked marketing, and I really had a creative piece. My father was not excited to me with work in advertising, but then studying business, I understood I really liked marketing. I really liked the consumer, and I began my career there. And for me, it was so easy, to know what I really wanted. That it was like a passion that I had inside myself, that about connecting with the consumer, creating things, creating products, doing campaigns, advertising. And I think that marketing gives you that possibility to blend so many things. It's like the combination of science and art. I like mathematics and I like numbers, but on the other side, I really like to be creative and bring things to life. So I think that was the perfect combination for me. So I worked in different things. I began in marketing research, then I was really working in brand marketing the rest of my career. And I worked from countries to regions to global to back to countries in Latin America, because I'm originally from Latin America, in Europe, in US, and globally. So it was a very nice experience, and I really enjoyed that. And now to be an entrepreneur, to be honest, what I love the most is marketing. And I think that the person who works in marketing with me is who suffers the most because I'm always trying to get involved with every single thing. But really, that was what I did. I think that I had like the possibility and the great opportunity, to work in all those areas in great companies with great brands.
Got it. One of the things you mentioned was, trying to get like insights from the customers and really talk to the customers. I think a lot of people don't really know how to do that or what are the ways that you can do that. A lot of companies, just the internal team thinks to themselves like, how do we want, like, what do we want to put out there? But they're not really listening to the customers and understanding what the customers want, and then letting that influence their product and the way that their company runs and all that stuff. How have you listened to the customer? What are some of the tactics that you have used?
I think that is to listen. I think that you need to listen and you need to observe. And when I was in these bigger companies, I think that one of the things that I really did, and I saw that other people didn't do it that much, was going to the point of sale, interview some of the consumers, understand them. It begins there. It begins about curiosity. I think that you need to be curious about how people really is looking at the product, the brand, and you learn so many things about that, and they come so many ideas. So when I was in hair color for women, and I was working in this specifically case at Revlon, I uh, I went to the store and I saw this woman going to buy, and she was complaining, "All these women are so young, and look at me, and this is not for me, and the typhon is so small, and I cannot read it." Then you begin to say, "Okay, we need to be maybe bigger typhons. We need to be careful about what kind of person we're going to portray in the boxes." by the way, it was complicated because if you put an old one and then they didn't identify with that, they wanted to look younger. So you need to, it begins with the curiosity to talk to them. I always have been thinking that going to the point of sale and seeing how people interact is very interesting. I used to work in feminine care. So I went to the aisle of feminine care and I was managing a brand called Cotex that is in US too. And the girls were saying, what is this guy doing here? But I was trying to see how they interact with the product. So I always try that. That comes with great ideas. Also looking at the numbers too, because when you look at the numbers, you look at Nielsen, you identify so many things. People like this package, not package, promotion, no promotion. So that comes there, comes in every single aspect. And I think that also I look at research and listening people and doing focus groups as a tremendous opportunity to not just only to evaluate if something is good, but evaluate how you can improve. So I think that is not that sometimes we in marketing, we think that when we are listening consumers, it's just only about saying something's working or not working, but it's also how we can improve the whole thing. So uh, I think that I said so many things. I think that it goes into all the areas of marketing, beginning with your curiosity, seeing how people is interacting with your products, being in the focus group behind, listening. Sometimes for me that was the best thing ever. It's like for me being in a focus group, being behind and listening to people and the interactions and the faces is very important. And I think that sometimes we in marketing, we just look for, okay, what is the result? And comes the company and do the presentation. But when you are there and you see the interaction with the consumer, I think that is really important. It is in those little details, in those little expressions where you can get great insights about how to make your product successful or making it better.
Yeah, that makes sense. And I love how you talk about, you've got the data, or the results, as you put it, like what are people actually buying from us? And then you've got the stories and the communication that you actually have with them. And neither of those two things alone is going to give you the right answer. You need both of those things, because in your example, when you go listen, if you go listen to your consumer who says, oh, I want older women on the box, if you were to just listen to them and do that, you would lose a ton of sales from younger people, or from even women who, like you said, don't want to imagine themselves as an old woman in this example. And so
Yes.
it's like you have to listen to them, but sometimes they think they want something until you give it to them, and then they realize, oh, this actually isn't what I want. And so you've got to be looking at the numbers and listening to them simultaneously. That's really smart. Let's talk about your company now. So you worked at all these big companies, in marketing for a long time, and recently you decided to go start your own company. So tell the listener about Cleverman.
Yes. So it was quite a jump, to do that, and it has been a very interesting journey. To be honest, I think so. We launched it. I launched Cleverman because I saw an opportunity in the marketplace. It's not that many brands that were doing solving the problems of hair and dye for guys. Is like a very important part of your of how you look, and we began in hair color and beard dye, where it's like less options for consumers, and we wanted to launch a product that really worked really well. So this begins with me. I began to beard dye, and the products that I found, they were not that good. I didn't like them that much, and I was working also in hair color when I was at Revlon, and I saw like the tremendous opportunity, to create something for guys that was also a great quality, great coverage, that had the color that you needed. So we come with a solution to launch Cleverman as an answer to that market that has been a little bit underserved. And the journey has been great. We launched it first in DTC. We created a product where people can really customize. So we are listening to the consumer. We are personalizing. We are leveraging in DTC that you have so much information from the consumer, and we can learn about their insights and optimize the product. And we launched it a year ago in Amazon, and Amazon has been great channel for us. We are continue growing in Amazon. Now it's like 40% of our sales. And now we are looking to expand into retail, and we are looking at other countries where, like Canada, Mexico, where we can expand. So it has been a great journey in all this process and creating a brand from zero. So yeah, I love it. I think it has been a tremendous experience, and I'm very glad to see how our consumers react to our product, how we are having a lot of engagement, a lot of repeat, scaling, seeing the organization coming more solid every single day. So that's a great experience, like seeing your kid to grow up. So that's good.
Yeah. Well, I was on your website, and hair dye, beard dye, to me, I always, and by the way, I haven't dyed anything yet, but I'm starting. You probably can't see it, but I'm starting to get some grays over here on the sides and whatever. Um, I always think of that as like, oh, women dye their hair, men don't really dye their hair, but that's not really true. And I was looking on your website, and some of those before and after photos are like, yeah, if I had as much gray hair as that guy, I would want to dye my hair and dye my beard. They look so much better once they dye it. So I think I may be a future customer of yours, by the way, once I get a few more grays.
Tell me, and
But
I give you free products.
but one of the other things I noticed was, I guess from the beginning, you started it out as like a subscription box type business. Is that how you've been doing it?
Yes, we have subscription, but also to sell in Amazon, we are, by the way, we have subscriptors in Amazon too. So
Okay.
in the subscription, we promote the subscription because also it's good for the consumer, because at the end, they're going to have their product there. We can create a relationship. We can improve their products. Our products are very personalized, so that works really well for our DTC. But also, we have been getting very good subscription in our model in Amazon as well.
Okay. Yeah. And I saw that it's like you open the box, you have like the video on there. They open the box and it's very well organized inside the box. Step 1, 2, 3, 4.
Yeah.
So you make it very easy, make it very easy for guys, which is good.
Yes.
Um,
An
no, it looks
experience.
awesome.
I think that we cannot forget. I don't know. Sometimes in marketing, we have been working really hard to make sure that we have a great experience for the consumers, that is engaging, that people is surprised about all the experience that they get, and it's not just only a transactional product where you have a horrible experience. We want to make the experience as best as possible. This is difficult to do it sometimes. It's like a chemistry project at home, so with yourself. So then we need to make it easier, simple, and engaging. So that has been part of the objective. And we are not stopping there. We continue developing products. We continue working to make our experience better. So we have great things coming. So I hope that we can share them in this at the end of this year.
That's awesome. So let's talk about, your big shift from corporate to entrepreneurship. What
Mhm.
has that been like just for you, shifting from being a marketing cog in a giant machine to now being CEO, and you have to touch so many other aspects of the business. What has that been like for you?
No, it has been extremely nurturing, let's say that's the word, in the sense that I have been feeling that in corporate, I was beginning to go to the point that it becomes a little bit too political sometimes, the stuff. And here I have to do every stuff. I have to wear so many hats. And in that sense, I think that I have been growing because I learned about so many things that I didn't see before. I began to value other things that I didn't value before. Um, because when you are in a big organization, you are protected. The company is protected. It's like a country too. It's protected by constitution. It's protected, but you have three the legal staff, the constitution, like the whole thing. Same thing is happening in a company. It's protected. It's protected that someone fails. Here I can fail, because I'm small. I need to learn about every single thing. Um, and that has been helping me to grow personally significantly. Also, it has been putting me in a less comfort zone, because I had to do things that I didn't do before. Like I was not prepared to do fundraising. I never thought that was that complicated. Um, I'm someone that is more relying on numbers, on data. I told you I began in marketing research. I like numbers, and sometimes when you're talking about founders, it's more about personality. And I think that I'm not having. Sometimes I'm shy too. I'm not that person that needs to be out there in the spot all the time and likes it. So I like more to work more behind the scenes, and for me, it has been like something that I had to face, yeah, other things, and take those challenges and be up there in front and talk to maybe more people about my product, or I for example, I never wanted to talk to people that I hate or will die, but then now I need to say it because I need to say that I use my product. But yeah, that has been pushing me into places, that I didn't expect. I learned from other things. Also, be very resilient. Uh, I think that I knew I was resilient, but I didn't know that I was that resilient because being an entrepreneur is complicated. You don't get the funding or you don't get the product that you wanted. Um, you can have a mistake in a company, yeah, but now it's more costly when you are doing yourself. Uh, I think that has been a very interesting journey. I don't think that being an entrepreneur is for everyone, to be honest. And you need to really know yourself and know that you are willing to fall many times, but you need to stand up so many other times and continue journeying. And everybody relies on you to continue. So I think that as is challenging, is very nurturing too, but also it's a different thing. It's a complete different job.
Yeah, I totally agree. Yeah, it can be very scary because to your point, if you when you work in corporate, if you have a bad week or you take a week off or 2 weeks off, even if you like go into the office and you're just being lazy, you can kind of like survive. If you are running your own company and you're lazy for 2 weeks, it really causes a lot of problems. Like you have to be really working hard when it's your own company. So that's the hard part. I totally agree. The the best part about it though is like you said, you get all these new experiences and all these new challenges, and you're sort of like in control of your schedule and you're constantly learning. And that other big point you had in there was there's no politics. It's your company, so you create the politics, and there don't need to be any, because I've worked at some big companies too, and oh my god, when you're a person who just likes to get things done and you just like the truth and you think like whatever makes the most sense is what we should do, all the political stuff is so annoying when you have to like think about that. So I hear you. When you talk about the fundraising, I'm curious about that. Did you fundraise just like at the idea stage, or did you first do like a proof of concept and you like shipped a couple boxes and got a little bit of revenue and then you fundraised? When did you fundraise in the life cycle of Cleverman?
Uh, I don't know. It's only clear. I think any company, if someone is gonna open a company, they need to think that they're gonna need to fundraise. Eventually, yeah, I love that. At least that you have someone. It's anyway. You need to fundraise or you need to self fund the whole thing. So it's in different stages. So you need to fundraise when you are doing your seed, pre-seed, when you are having your idea. Maybe you have a proof of concept, you want to do it, or you put your own capital there. So I had some friends and family at that moment. You prove your concept, and I think that the whole thing is that is very different because when you are having the idea, you can sell an idea, and I think that that moment for fundraising maybe is easier because you have like an idea, and people bet on your idea, on your vision. When you launch, and I'm telling you about my experience, so maybe other people can learn from that. When you launch your product, things change dramatically because then people begin to talk about, okay, what is your cost of acquisition? How are your metrics? You are selling, not selling, and maybe you are just trying to sell at that moment, but you need to be prepared for that. And I think that one thing that I didn't prepare myself, I was about that. And I'm saying, oh, yes, but we are selling. No, it's not enough. Now, the day that you ship your first box or sell your product, you go out there, you are now on the spot, and you are now, there are people that are going to evaluate you by the results, not by the idea. So having enough funding in the first part to fuel that second part, I think is very important. You need to maybe to manage that properly. As you scale up, so we went to later to a seed funding, you need to prove that now your product is selling, that you have been growing, that you have been scaling up. And then after that, then you're going to need more money because you are going to have now to scale it bigger to go to the next level. So now we're trying to go into retail is one of our next steps. So now I'm raising money again, to have the capital to go to that next phase. So that from and it's a very different model. Now I need to prove that all what I'm doing is good, that I'm almost profitable, and now I need money to go to the next level. So it depends on the industry too. I'm in a very complex, let's say, industry, because now consumer goods or DTC are less attractive. Even if we have very good metrics, sometimes it's difficult to find the right investor. And it was an over expectation about the industry before. Maybe you are in AI, it's more easier because now it's more in fashion, but I don't know if it's going to be in fashion in 2 years. So you need to be aware that if you go into this journey, or you are going to be fundraising all the time, you need to sell your company. You are a salesperson. You need to go and sell your company all the time, and not just only you and the company, and you as a founder, are the face of the company, and that's a big part of the role.
Yeah. What has been your like biggest challenge so far? I know that, and I'm speaking specifically about like these consumer type companies, like the one that you're running. Is it because sometimes I know consumer companies really struggle with like getting out of the gate. There's like, you want to order, you want to start producing your product, but whatever facility you've selected to actually make and box your product, they have some like minimum order quantity. And so then you have to like go all the way up to that minimum order quantity, but you don't have the sales yet to sustain it. And so it's like this chicken and egg thing. Did you have to deal with that issue, or have there been other issues that have been like more challenging, you think?
Okay, I think that the most challenging issue for me, I'm going to tell you about that one, the supply chain too, I think has been to be a single founder. I suggest if someone is going to open a company to think a little bit about how you're going to be maybe partnering with someone or partnering with a couple of people to do it, because it's very difficult to do different jobs. And what I was thinking, fundraising is going to be one of the things that you need to do all the time, and sometimes you need to do also the piece of the operation. And the operation is maybe two: the operation per se, what you were mentioning, and the other piece was the piece of acquiring consumers, doing your marketing, having great marketing. So to begin, I think that it's very important to think about how you have a founder or co-founders, that help you. I didn't have that. I had the fortune to have a great team, to be honest. So I have a great COO. I have someone who is in charge of all. He leads all our operations and making sure that the product is right. And we have been bringing more people over the time. But having that team, I think, is very important. I think that has been one of the sometimes the obstacles, because even having a great team, having a partner will help you to balance, the amount of work that you need to do. Especially, I think fundraising is very important, and someone needs to be really focusing on fundraising, and someone who should be focusing on operations. But when you have to do both, it has been a difficult challenge for me sometimes during this process. In terms of the operation, yes, definitely that's a challenge. I think that I had the opportunity to find a very good partners in companies that do that. At the beginning, we had to invest more in inventory, but as we have been moving forward, we have been optimizing our operation, reducing the costs, reducing the MOQs, proving to them that we can be there. So I understand the challenge. Definitely is a challenge, but definitely is manageable when you have good partners that support you. Today are more companies producing out there. There are more 3PLs that help you. But sometimes also I have to be practical. I wanted to launch a product that maybe had some specific elements on sustainability, and I couldn't do it. That really didn't make me that happy to do it. But I had to be practical, and I had to say, okay, I need to launch like this. This is what is available. I need to launch. As you progress, you have more scale, you have more resources, and then you can optimize your product and make it what you really wanted. But it's important to move, because if not, you don't move. So you need to decide what is really relevant and what is not, and move forward.
Yeah, no, that's great advice. Awesome. Well, hey, I want to wrap things up here, but like I said, I'm most likely a future customer of yours. Where can our listeners go learn more? Is it cleverman.com?
Yes, go to becleverman.com.
Becleverman.com. Okay, we'll link to that for sure.
Yes, and
Um,
you can learn more about our products, and we are launching new things at the end of this year, so we are very excited.
Awesome, cool. Well, I'll definitely keep tabs on you, and I'm excited for when you guys get into retail. That does sound like a massive scaling opportunity. And otherwise, Carlos, thank you very much for joining me today in the Lion's Den.
No, thanks to you for the opportunity.